Jeff Anicheto asks, what made you begin watching The Amazing World of Gumball? As I said, Cartoon Network advertises the shit out of the show, just like its other mainstays like Adventure Time, Regular Show, Steven Universe, We Bare Bears, and God forbid, Teen Titans Go and PPG 2016. So yeah, it was unavoidable. I saw the promotional material on both their main channel and on the internet. I saw the TV spots, and keep in mind that they weren't just showing the same TV spot, they were showing different kinds of TV spots that really showcased the characters, the art style, the humor, and whatnot. And as for the internet promotional material, I got hooked into the Elmore Stream It videos. For those of you who don't know, that's the Elmore Stream It YouTube channel that's supposed to tie in with the show itself. Which, by the way, is right now dead in the water. I have no idea why. I personally find it surprising because that channel actually got a respectable amount of traffic. The last time I was there, it had a 5-digit subscriber count, and I don't know if that's changed in recent times, but that's definitely not something to snuff at. And neither is the fact that their videos have consistently gained 6-digit view counts. So yeah, it was doing pretty well, and I don't know why it just fell out of the radar. The Ninja Septile asks, which one you like more, the shell or Wish Upon a Coin? This one is a bit of a toughie. I covered Wish Upon a Coin during my Mickey Mouse retrospective, which was the first set of videos that I uploaded on my channel. If you haven't checked them out yet, go check them out in your own time. Anyway, so in that retrospective, I compiled my personal top 10 best shorts from the 2013 series by Paul Rudish, and Wish Upon a Coin was number 1. And my reasons for putting it up there at the top of the list is because it takes all these tropes and conventions that we've come to know Disney for. So stuff like making a wish in your heart, that wish coming true, and just believing in the uncertain, and just believing in things that are yet to come. So all that whimsical, fantastical BS that Disney so rigorously shoves down our throats. Yeah, and it turns those tropes and conventions on their heads. It parodies them to the same effect that the Shrek movies did back when they were the hottest thing on the planet. And to me, I find that to be more profound, considering that the parody is being done by the company who established these tropes and conventions in the first place. And as for the shell, it's my definition of a perfect episode. I can't name a single thing about it that rubbed me the wrong way or I felt was completely out of place. Everything gelled together nicely, everything meshed perfectly, everything was perfect. It's the culmination of a number of things that have been nagging in the back of our heads and in the back of the heads of the characters of the show itself. So Gumball and Penny coming to terms with their feelings towards each other, and the revelation of Penny's true form, and tying in with Gumball and Penny coming to terms with their true feelings is Gumball's character development, which was outstanding. And that's not even taking into account the beautiful animation. Like Ben Bocale himself said, this looks and feels like something straight out of a Hayao Miyazaki or Studio Ghibli film. It's breathtaking. It really sucks you into its atmosphere, and you get so attached to the characters that you want them to succeed. And when they finally do succeed, that's the point where you stand from your seats and you applaud them. That's an example of excellent storytelling. It's compelling, emotionally charged, and it's satisfying. And for those reasons, I'm going to have to go in favor of the shell. Plain and simple. Charles Hallowell has 2 questions. Number 1, what were your thoughts on the winter finale of Star vs. the Forces of Evil? I'm pretty sure that Charles is referring to Bon Bon the Birthday Clown. I got 2 words to describe that. Holy shit. This is a curveball that no baseball player on the planet will ever hope to beat. Wow! Oh, it's amazing how much can happen in the space of half an hour. Like Jackie Lynn Thomas and Marco Diaz officially becoming an item, much to the disgruntlement of Star and Starco shippers all across the globe, myself included. I wouldn't say that I'm disgruntled so much as I'm giddy. Yes, I was rooting for Star and Marco all the way to the very end, but you can't ignore the build-up that we've witnessed in Season 1. And this was inevitable. So, as a firm Starco shipper, I concede. Jarko or Jacko, however you want to call your ship, I guess you win this time. This time. Keywords, this time. And, apart from that, Ludo becoming 10 times more competent than he was in previous episodes. That's a tasty little chicken nugget. Oh wait, Ludo's not a bird, is he? No, he's not. But I digress. And on top of that, there's also the fact that Ludo actually came out on top at the very end and stole Star's spellbook. And everyone's like, oh my god, is Ludo finally becoming an actual villain? Is he finally growing a pair of balls? If you want a TLDR answer to your question, Charles, yes, I love the episode. It's officially beaten out Ludo in the Wild as my favorite Star Season 2 episode. As for Charles' second question, do you like Undertale? And the answer is yes. Yes, I love Undertale. The gameplay, the music, the characters, the storytelling, the art direction, the emotional impact. I love it all. I went into the game half blind. I read a little bit about it before making my purchase on Steam, and when I started playing it, let's just say that I was roped in just like that. The incorporation of the meta concept in virtually every aspect of the game, fantastic. I enjoy how it takes all these conventions and practices that have been associated with video gaming over the past few years, and deconstructs them in the same way that the disaster in the rerun deconstructs characteristics of the amazing world of Gumball, and how Puella Magi Madoka Magica deconstructs characteristics of the Maho Shoujo or magical girl genre of anime. It's become one of my all-time favorite video games, if not my all-time favorite video game, period. However, that's not to say that an astounding game such as this doesn't have its caveats. Having been involved in my fair share of batshit crazy communities, from Bronies to Steven Universe to Five Nights at Freddy's to Sonic to Pokemon to Final Fantasy, the Undertale community is something else, let me tell you. Markiplier, if you're by any chance watching this video, on behalf of the entire Undertale community, I apologize. I apologize for the fact that some of us can't seem to keep our yaps shut or our opinions to ourselves, and for all the scathing, hurtful messages that we've sent your way. For those, I apologize. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to have learned that the community, well, the toxic parts of it, have left such a terrible taste in your mouth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So yeah, I love Undertale. And maybe it's just me, but I believe that Undertale and the amazing world of Gumball should cross over more often in fan art and fan fiction and all that jazz. And no, not just in the form of Rule 34 bullshit. Furries, as much as I sympathize with you, please keep all your fantasies about Nicole and Toriel macking on each other to yourselves. Before I get carried away with this, let's move on to the next question. William Clarke also has more than one question. His first question is, who do you think is the more shadier network? Disney, Cartoon Network, or Nickelodeon? Cartoon Network is the least despicable of the bunch. See, the thing with Cartoon Network is, apart from their grievous mistakes, one of which shall remain unmentioned in this video, thank you very much, most of their mistakes tend to be related to scheduling and nothing more. And between these three channels, I find that Cartoon Network is the one most likely to learn from its mistakes. As soon as they realize that something is an absolute disaster, they're usually, keyword usually, quick to drop it before it causes any kind of long-term damage. The problem solvers being a gigantic skid mark on animation underwear? Out the door. Stuart Snyder being a clueless, inept, cancerous motherfucker? Out the door. To make a long story short, Cartoon Network has proven time and again that they can, and usually will, learn from their mistakes. I'm willing to bet that some of the problems that people have towards the network can be attributed to its president, Christina Miller, and all I have to say about that is, give her some time. Yeah, she's been instated into her position in July of 2014, and yeah, we don't hear much about her in regards to that position ever since she landed it, but 2 years to me is still relatively new, and to other people, they might also consider it relatively new, and it's all a matter of letting herself become acclimated to the inner workings of the network and what it's all about. And hopefully, we won't see a repeat of Stuart Snyder's mistakes. As for Disney and Nickelodeon, oh boy, where do I even begin? I'm sure by this point that it's a no-brainer to anyone, whether they watch TV religiously or not, that 65 episodes over the course of 2 seasons is not enough. And I'm pretty sure that it's also a no-brainer that just because children are the primary demographic for cartoons in general, doesn't mean that the creators behind these cartoons have an excuse to demean their intelligence. Nor is it excusable for anyone to force-feed us the same old shit down our throats over and over and over again. Now sure, SpongeBob is getting better now that Steven Hillenburg is back on board, but there's just one problem with that. Have the executives over at Nickelodeon ever thought to themselves that maybe their audience might be a little desensitized from the oversaturation of SpongeBob over the past 2 years? Aside from the staunchest of SpongeBob fans, who in their right mind is honestly going to give SpongeBob one more chance? Who? And while I'm currently on the topic of Disney and Nickelodeon, let us have a moment of silence. Let us have a moment of silence for Craig McCracken and Carl Greenblatt. Let us have a moment of silence for Wander Over Yonder and Harvey Beaks. Shh. No talking whatsoever. Alright, moment of silence done. Disney, you're not creating magic at all. You're creating witchcraft. And Nickelodeon, I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure that the designer behind your Splat logo confused the color orange with the color brown. Poo joke. Just saying. Maybe that's not slime you're dumping on people's heads after all. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. Anyway, moving on. As for William's other questions, what are my thoughts on SpongeBob, and what does Gumball do right that SpongeBob doesn't? I was always the odd one out back when SpongeBob literally ruled the world, I wasn't really that much of a SpongeBob guy so much as a Fairly Odd and Teenage Robot guy. That's not to say that I don't know a thing about SpongeBob. I did. I know my fair amount of SpongeBob, thank you very much. And that's not to say that I don't respect the show. In fact, I do respect the show and what it's done over the years and the impact that it's had on its viewership. But I don't know. I just wasn't as into it as other shows on Nickelodeon. I can't explain it. I can't wrap my finger around it. In regards to your other question, William, I'd be lying to you if I said that Gumball hasn't lifted a page out of every other comedy show's book, including SpongeBob. These old habits are more prominent in the first season than anywhere else. And we can all agree that Gumball Season 1 is the weakest season by far. And with that in mind, I wouldn't say that Gumball excels in areas that SpongeBob doesn't, so much as it outgrows past mistakes. For instance, back in Season 1, there were plenty of, not really plenty, but I'd say a handful of episodes that were just unpleasant to watch. Whether it's torture porn towards Gumball himself, or moments of Gumball being inhumanly stupid, which by this point shouldn't be acceptable anymore. Now that the show has found its groove and now that Gumball has been developed substantially. Gumball, the series, has outgrown all that stuff. Whereas with SpongeBob, it's pretty self-explanatory, at least to those of you who've managed to power through it. David E.W. Johnson asks, will you ever remake the Gumball Top 10 list? Also, opinion on cookies. Yes, I'm going to remake the Top 10 list. Don't you worry about that. As for cookies, I love them. Who doesn't? Pfft, people are nuts. Sawyed Dar, I don't know if I pronounced that right, has 3 questions for me. Number 1, what is your favorite and least favorite 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s cartoon? Favorite 1990s cartoon? Pretty much anything from the Cartoons lineup. Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken and Iron Weasel, The Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Edd and Eddy. Least favorite from that decade? Maybe Cat Dog from Nickelodeon. Back then, it was okay, but looking back now, kind of uncomfortable to watch. Favorite 2000s cartoon? It's a toss-up between Samurai Jack, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Least favorite from that decade? I don't know if you can consider it a cartoon, but Mr. Meaty on Nickelodeon was disgusting, and so was Out of Jimmy's Head. I also didn't like My Gym Partner's a Monkey, or Squirrel Boy, or Camp Lazlo. Apart from a few diamonds in the rough, the 2000s was a pretty mediocre generation for animation as a whole. Favorite 2010s cartoon? There's some pretty stiff competition with this one. Between Adventure Time, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Regular Show, The Amazing World of Gumball, Steven Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012, The Legend of Korra, Gravity Falls, We Bare Bears, Rick and Morty. There's just plenty of good shows. But when it comes down to it, come on, you guys. You know what the answer is going to be. You just know what the answer is going to be. I don't have to spell it out for you. Least favorite cartoon of this decade? It's an easy target, but Problem Solvers, aka Eye Rape. The overly saturated colors, the horrible art style, the absence of any kind of plot, it's offensive. The show was awful, it was thankfully put out of its misery. End of story. Second question is, who is your favorite and least favorite YouTuber? I can't restrict myself to just one YouTuber because there are plenty of YouTubers out there that I love. I love Channel Awesome, particularly the Nostalgia Critic. I love Cinema Sins and Jeremy Scott in general. Jeremy Scott makes everything better. I love Screen Junkies. I love Pro Jared. I love Watcher of the 2000s, aka Cuddle Boss. I love Rebel Taxi. And I also recently started watching videos from What Culture, especially their wrestling division. And after watching a couple more videos from them, I've officially become a huge fan of them, especially the face of What Culture, the posh British smartass Adam Blampier. God, that guy's awesome. Someone should consider putting Jeremy Scott and Adam Blampier together in the same room. Smartass and smartass under one single roof. That will be one for the ages, let me tell you. Least favorite YouTuber, Keemstar and Darksidefell. The last question from Sawyed Dar, again, sorry about the pronunciation. What made you start your channel? Oh boy, now we're trekking on uncharted territory. My original intention for my YouTube channel was to have something to do for the Duke of Edinburgh Award, but those plans kind of fell through. After that, I redirected my focus towards something a bit more concrete, and that would be to better myself as a person. Prior to me starting my YouTube channel, my self-esteem wasn't the best. It wasn't bad, but I do wish that I were a little less shy, a little less soft-spoken, and I wanted to be more outgoing, more social, more brave, more daring. I wanted to take risks. I wanted to take a plunge like I never have before, and I figured, what better way to do that than through a YouTube channel? And tying in with that point, you guys probably won't believe this, but I wasn't very fond of my own voice prior to this whole YouTube gig. In fact, I was even ashamed of it. But over time, I've grown to be more confident in what I sound like, and I've even come to love my own voice. And I've realized that it would be such a huge shame to let it go to waste. And not only that, but I do want to be heard. There are so many things I want to say, and I want to let my opinions be known and be acknowledged. And my YouTube channel has given me that and so much more. This channel means everything to me, and what I've done so far, you guys tuning in, that means so much to me. And if anyone thinks that this is just a big waste of time or this won't amount to anything at all, I will gladly fight them in the streets. The gloves are coming off. Emmy Froy also has 3 questions. What is the worst animated movie you watch? Present tense, not past tense. # grammar Nazi. Favorite SpongeBob episode, and what YouTubers you like. Worst animated movie I've ever watched? Chicken Little. I know it's another easy target, but come on, there is nothing salvageable about that movie whatsoever. It might have been fine back then, but looking back now, it's awful. Anthro characters be damned, and I'm a huge sucker for Anthro characters. There's no one to like in this movie. Buck Cluck, you are one spineless, emasculated jackass. The CGI in the film is nothing to write home about, and the flip-flop in the middle of the plot is retardation incarnate. It's bad. It's an objectively bad movie. Favorite SpongeBob episode? That would be Band Geeks. It is badass. What YouTubers you like? I've already answered that. Adamski Gaming also has 3 questions. Isn't that just fantastic? I love you all. What is the main thing that compels you to Gumball? What is your least favorite Gumball episode? And what are your thoughts on Clarence, being as that's really a hit or miss show? For a show that has so much going for it, the main draws of Gumball for me are its art style, duh, and the bond between the Watterson family. Every single one of their heartwarming moments speaks to me, and I don't think I'll be able to watch The Choices again without breaking out the waterworks. When it comes to my least favorite episodes of Gumball, they're usually the ones that are needlessly mean-spirited or really downplay Gumball's intelligence, which is very insulting considering that we know that Gumball is much smarter than what those episodes state he is. So episodes like The Laziest, The Goons, The Genius, The Picnic, The Robot. Another episode that really grinds my gears, and I do mean grinds my gears, is The Hero from Season 2. Talk about emotionally exploitative bullshit. So, let me get this straight. Gumball and Darwin insult their father, unknowingly mind you, and this somehow gives Nicole and Anais some kind of validation to deny them essentials like bathing and food, which, by the way, is child abuse. And it's not that either of them were any better. It's not like they showed Richard any respect themselves. Hypocrite much? Oh, but don't worry. This all leads to a dramatic climax where Richard has to prove his worth as a father and as a husband by coming to the aid of his two sons, and succeeds, and we all come together in one big tearful embrace underneath the pouring rain, and everything is all of a sudden all better. That shit. That shit. Ben Beauclair, I love you and all, and I respect the living shit out of you, but I'm sorry, this episode was just absolutely putrid. Clarence, I can't say too much about it, but judging from the press that I've seen regarding the show on the internet, it doesn't look that bad. It has gained positive reception, but that's mostly from news outlets. I don't know about actual viewers. Kareem Ramos says, first of all, congrats. Thank you very much. 2 questions. What is your favorite color, and what is your favorite movie of all time? My favorite color is red, including darker shades of it, so crimson, maroon, scarlet, burgundy, cardinal. I don't have a definitive all-time favorite movie, but one of my favorite movies, which recently came out, is Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, directed by Alejandro Iñárritu and starring Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, Zach Galifianakis. People complain that the movie is pretentious, or that the way it addresses its subject matter is too simplified, or that it sticks exclusively with one side of the argument that it's bringing up. Personally, that's not what I think when I watch this movie. Just watch that excellent scene at the bar where the main character, Regan Thompson, who is played by Michael Keaton, speaks to this overly harsh and critical theater critic who lambasts him for his background in Hollywood, and he in turn lambasts her for her approaches towards journalism and critique in general. Speaking of Michael Keaton, he is phenomenal in this film. Same goes for the rest of the cast: Emma Stone, Edward Norton, Zach Galifianakis. I would have wanted Michael Keaton to win the Best Actor Oscar at the 2015 ceremony instead of Eddie Redmayne. asks, What's your favorite animated movie outside of America? You can never go wrong with Studio Ghibli. Two movies that come to mind from their catalog are Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. I love those two movies to death. There's also the recently released movie by Makoto Shinkai, Kimi no Nawa, or Your Name. Beautiful movie. It goes toe-to-toe with Zootopia as my favorite animated movie of 2016, and hell, favorite movie of 2016, in fact. Romance through body swapping. I don't think you can get any more unique than that. And this unique concept is punctuated by two very strong, likable, relatable lead characters, Mitsuha and Taki. Beautiful visual design, a relaxing soundtrack, and the ability to make you feel whatever kind of emotion it wants you to feel at any given time. If the movie wants you to laugh, it'll make you laugh. If it wants you to cry, it'll make you cry. And the way that it segues from one mood to the next is masterful. And not once do these transitions feel like they're completely out of left field. It would be an injustice if Makoto Shinkai and Your Name go unacknowledged in next year's Oscars, but knowing the track record of the Oscars in the past couple of years, it shouldn't be too surprising. That's gonna do it for part 1 of this Q&A session. Stay tuned for part 2.